Har Meher Baba Ki Jai. Let's start with my wish. Ashok ji, you may
Yeah.
start. Jai
Avatar
Baba.
Meher Baba ki Jai. My wish, the lover has to keep the wish of the beloved. My wish for my lovers is as follows. 1. Do not shirk your responsibilities. 2. Attend faithfully to your worldly duties, but always keep at the back of your mind that all this is Baba's. 3. When you feel happy, think Baba wants me to be happy. When you suffer, think Baba wants me to suffer. 4. Be resigned to every situation and think honestly and sincerely. Baba has placed me in this situation. 5. With the understanding that Baba is in everyone, try to help and serve others. 6. I say with my divine authority to each and all that whosoever takes my name at the time of breathing his last comes to me, so do not forget to remember me in your last moments. Unless you start remembering me from now on, it will be difficult to remember me when your end approaches. You should start practicing from now on. Even if you take my name only once every day, you will not forget to remember me in your dying moments. Avtar Meher Baba Ki
Baba
Jai.
ki jai.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karthik. Yes.
I hope your health is much better now,
Yeah, it's better.
Ashok.
I was in the hospital for 4 5 days. I've
Oops.
come back. I'm
Oh,
fine.
really?
Yes.
After
So
Ahmednagar?
it's
After
yeah, yeah after
Hyderabad?
After Nagar. I don't know what
5 days?
happened.
Hmm.
I don't know what happened. It's Baba's wish. We take it as Baba's wish and leave it at
You
that.
know what? I think it's a stomach flu going around. I got
Yeah.
it after I came back here.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been suffering last for 4 days now.
oh.
Oops.
It's bad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, take care.
So, hope you recover soon, Ashok. And let's start now with session number 26. We are
Okay.
reading through the 1948 second half, just around the time the new life has started. I have a cold today, so if I can have volunteers to read, it would be very good. If not, I can read with my cold-ridden voice. I'm okay either wise, right? So we stopped here, which is page 111 in volume 2. So we'll start right from there. Any thoughts before we get started?
What was discussed last week, or this is the new life, or can you just give me a little context on?
Yeah. It's just we are just starting with the new life. Baba gave his oath. Then there were a few incidents around that, and then we continue from that point on. So, so that's where we are. So we are starting the first stretch of walk from Ahmednagar has been concluded. That's all has happened. Baba has left Ahmednagar and he's walked from quite some distance away. And that's where the narration stopped. Yeah. And we start
I,
from that point on.
I can read. I can read.
All right. Thank you so much, Ravi. You can get started then. Exhausting walk from that point. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Utar Meher Baba ki jai. Exhausting walk and delightful treat. In spite of the cloudy weather, Baba decided to walk on foot in one hike a distance of 25 kilometers from Supa to Gadnadi. He gestured that whether it rained or not, The march was to be continued. Subsequently, on October 18th, as early as 4 a.m., the Baba party set out for Godnadi. The men walked ahead, and the woman with Baba followed a little later. After a while, Baba wished to communicate with some of the Yaswalas. So he clapped, but in the open air, his clapping could not be heard by the companions. Gohar blew a whistle, but as it was rarely used, uh, the cork balls got stuck inside. Eventually, the companions heard. Okay, can you stop moving? Eventually, the companions heard the call and stopped. Baba joined them and impressed upon them that it should not happen again. But in fact, one of their orders had been not to look backwards. So naturally, they could not guess how far they were ahead of Baba. If they had walked rather slowly to avoid getting too far ahead, there was a good chance that this would have displeased Baba. As someone later remarked, Baba expects one to sit and stand at one and the same time. True, to live with Baba is a constant challenge to eye consciousness. After walking halfway, they came in sight of Narangam. Baba gestured that tea would refresh the companions. Kakabaria, however, was the only Yaswala permitted to carry some money, and he had proceeded to Godnadi to make the lodging and boarding arrangements. The rest of the party were the penniless companions of the perennial fakir, Baba. Yurich, however, remembered that according to the previous plan, there was there was to be a halt under the shady trees at Narayangam. Besides, a person staying in that village had been paid in advance for milk, etc. That was good news. Baba asked Yurich and Duncan to hasten and find that person. They contacted the man and all had good, refreshing tea. This incident could be regarded as the beginning of the coincidences that followed later in the new life. In the morning, it was cool and the walk was pleasant, but soon it started getting warmer. By 10 a.m., the October heat, as it is experienced in India, is quite oppressive. Now the walk was tiring. Baba's toes developed sores, and Duncan had to put adhesive tape on those spots. A small group of villagers, as they passed by, the women disciples carrying umbrellas, perhaps sensed their plight and suggested that there was convenient bus service to Pune. The woman smiled away and suggestions by saying, "It's all right, thank you." As the party approached Godnadi, Ghani felt extremely exhausted. He had a slight heart attack. Baba made him sit under a tree and splashed some water on his head. A little rest helped him to resume the journey. The rest house on the outskirts of the city, where the Baba party intended to halt, was already engaged by some government officers. So the advance party had So the advance party had to make the lodging arrangements in a cinema house that has closed down and was vacant. The theater was in the heart of the city. Yeah. The woman who had led a secluded life for years felt shy as they walked through the crowded streets, avoiding the inquisitive glances of the strangers. It was now past midday. The lunch was ready. All relished the food after the strenuous walk and preferred to relax the rest of the day. The next day was Diwali, a festival of lights. From the early morning, indeed, throughout the night, firecrackers and sparklers were set off by children and grown-ups alike. The sound of exploding firecrackers was deafening. In spite of this disturbance, most of the companions enjoyed an undisturbed sleep as they had a tiring walk the day before. After breakfast, all felt energetic, though the stiffness of their limbs often reminded them of the long journey. Here again, Baba ordered all to bathe. Therefore, unroofed urinals were cleaned. These were turned into improvised bathrooms. In the afternoon, laddus sweets were served with tea. Previous day, all had jalebis. These two treats were not intended to celebrate Diwali. These were meant to celebrate the two narrow escapes from serious injury, one to Neelu and the other to Baba. On the first day, while getting down from the luggage lorry, Neelu had inadvertently slipped and fell to the road on his hunches, but did not hurt himself badly. On hearing this, Baba sanctioned the expense of 10 rupees for sweets as the mishap had been averted. The next night, Baba was resting on a dinner table and served as an improvised bed. Generally, the least sound would wake Baba, but that night Baba fell into an unusually sound sleep. It was after midnight when someone knocked and shook the door violently. Baba woke up to get the door, but as the dinner table was much higher than a regular bed, he missed his foot and fell heavily on one side. Fortunately, he managed to support his body with his palms and was saved from any unfortunate consequences, except for a rude shaking. Irich tried to find out who had knocked, but in vain. It was not known who shook the door so furiously. A stranger or a spirit, Baba later disclosed that for the first time he felt immensely relieved of the burden of the old life, and as a natural consequence, he had an exceptionally sound sleep. When he conveyed the whole episode to the companions, Gani suggested that this narrow escape too should be celebrated, befitting their persons concerned. Baba responded good humoredly by allotting 21 rupees for laddus. Thus, these two events provided timely Diwali treats for all. Baba discussed the transport arrangements from Gorandi to Belgaum, a distance of about 440 kilometers. Companions were to travel in a special bus. Pendu and Kaka were asked to go with the luggage truck. At Belgaum, the first training center, on October 20th, 2 a.m., the companions got into the state transport bus bound for Belgaum. The Baba party traveling via Pune, Kolhapur, and Nipani reached Talkawadi, Belgaum by 4 p.m. the same day. It had rained enough so that the road leading to the hut on the farm on the outskirts of the city was muddy and slushy. The workmen were still at work and the flooring was quite damp. To cheer up the companions, Baba mentioned that whatever was happening, whether offering comforts or discomforts, was in keeping with the new life. The temporary structure for the women was a furlong from the men's quarters, but it was on the same farm with a well nearby. For everyday use, the men had to fetch water from this well. Life at Belgaum was indeed a phase of hard labor, as Baba called it. The evening, the two champions had only wheat bread and curry for supper, no vegetables. At night, it rained periodically. This made the floor of the hut even damper, and in both the rooms in the women's quarters, there was ankle deep water. In one of the sittings, Baba explained, up to now, the life, so to say, has been of pain and suffering. In 1950, the life will be still more actually painful, but this pain you will enjoy. This enjoyment of pain will in itself constitute a challenge to God. I cannot say anything more. On October 22nd, Baba dictated a general circular for his followers. It contained information about the three phases connected with the new life and their duration up to the end of 1949. Before inaugurating the physical labor phase at Belgaum, Baba distributed sweets to the companions. He then assigned different duties to one and all. Kaka was in charge of cooking. Baidil and Murli were to help him. Adi, Pendu, and Neelu were to draw and supply water from the well. Vishnu was given the work of marketing, but he was not allowed to engage a coolie to fetch articles from the city. Rich was to attend to Baba for odd jobs, and Gani had to write the day-to-day diary of the new life. Anna was to keep watch at night. The women, including Mehra, willingly shared the work of cooking, washing, and sweeping, which they had rarely done before. Mani was in charge of cooking. She was not as adept as Naja, Pendu's sister, in preparing dishes. One day at supper time, it was found that the vegetable stew lacked flavor. Baba suggested that the patty stored in the cupboard be mashed in it. This gave it such a delicious taste that the woman referred to it as Bhagavan stew, the famous dish of Pune. It occasionally rained at Belgaum, and the rainwater dripped from the tiled roof. Hence, floor cleaning was an additional but necessary task. Mehra and Mani used to sleep in one room as the temporary structure was in a farm. One day, Mani had a rat bite and began to bleed. Gohar had to give immediate first aid. Another day, Gohar suddenly got up from sleep. She felt that Mehru was calling her for help. In fact, it was only an owl hooting at night. In spite of the hard labor and discomforts, the men and women remained cheerful. This pleased Baba. The second period of training in begging was to be carried out at Banaras in Uttar Pradesh. Sadashiv Patel and Babadas were to be sent in advance to find a secluded place where Baba and the party could stay for 3 weeks. They were also to find a person, a friend or an acquaintance, who would accept 500 rupees and in return feed the Baba party for 20 days. There was no special condition about the quality of the food. Baba instructed them that the negotiations with the persons concerned should be carried out so skillful that the donor should in no way feel that he was obliging the party. They were also to be they were also to be on the lookout for 2 cows and she donkeys which they could purchase. This task seemed difficult, but the companions had to try their best. Patel and Babadas left Belgaum for Benares on October 26th. There are few
Maybe we take a
occasions.
pause. Yeah, maybe we
Yeah.
take a pause. Any comments? Any points of feedback? So I think the hard life part of it is very clear. It's unusual for the kind of tasks that are being given to the Mandali. And imagine having to live in a house where there's actually deep water, right? You are used to ashram life, but just even imagine the fact that you have water all the time in your floor. So it's not an easy life. Belagaum, I mean, Banaras is an interesting story. We are just starting on that. And I think Sanjay ji has also traveled to Banaras and visited places connected to Baba there. So it'll be interesting to hear what happened exactly in the new life.
Belgaum is
Anybody wants?
where is
Belgaum
Belgaum?
is in, yeah, Belgaum is very close to the Maharashtra Karnataka border. So it's on the Karnataka side. It's
Hmm.
now called Belgavi, but it's
Oh, Belgavi.
the
Yeah,
Belgavi. Yes.
I see. Then Varanasi is quite far, right?
Yeah, quite a distance. Yeah. So that's in Uttar Pradesh, closer. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, central India, central to
Uttar
North
Pradesh.
India, actually. Yeah.
Uttar
I mean,
Pradesh.
it's the
Yeah,
lowest, southernmost part of Uttar Pradesh. So it's quite a bit, quite a distance. Yes. Okay.
interesting.
So, anybody in a position to read for 20-30 minutes? Kiran, Sanjay, you can rotate as well.
Yeah. Let me
I
read.
can I can read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe Sanjay ji, and
I think
then we rotate.
let me read first for 15 minutes or something, and then
Sure.
I need to go for break. Actually, I'm in Jamnagar, so
Okay. Sure. No problem.
yeah.
Perfect.
So
Thank
I'll
you.
read for 15 minutes, and then you can take over. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Kiran ji after the Kiran after this. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
There were a few occasions. Yeah. That's where we can start. Thank you, Ravi ji.
There were a few occasions when the companions roll up came came in for an admonition. Gustachi's duty was to sweep the hut. Baba noticed that he was not particular enough in attending to his work. On another day, he found that Neelu was talking with Adi about the good old days of the old life. He even expressed a wish, may those days return soon. His remark displeased Baba. He made it clear to his companions that such thoughts were not expected of the yes walas. Through such directions, Baba was trying to drive home the real nature of the new life to all. Daulat Singh returned to Bangalore. On the first week of October, Daulat Singh, according to Baba's instructions, arrived at Mehrabad. He was one of the yes walas. It was about this month that his youngest daughter was to get married. She had lovingly pleaded with her father, saying, can't you postpone joining Baba in his new life for a few days? As soon as my wedding is over, you may gladly leave us all. This is my last request of you. Dear father, and I hope Baba too won't object to it. Daulat Singh tried to console her, but had to refuse and arrived at Mehrabad on October 5. Family ties were hard to untie. They are like the knots of silk thread, very tender yet very powerful. At Belgaum, one evening, after helping Iraj wash the utensils, he sat alone at night outside their hut, silently sobbing over his helplessness to grant his dear daughter's simple request. Perhaps that was the day of her wedding. He thought that he was all by himself, but Baba most unexpectedly arrived at the companion's quarters and approached Daulat Singh. He asked him to tell frankly why he was weeping and what troubled him so deeply. Daulat Singh had to say what he thought and felt. Baba quietly listened but said nothing at that time. In view of this and some other incidents, Baba once again offered the choice of all the companions to go back to the old life if they so wished. At the request of Yaswalas, Baba had a private interview with each. He cleared the doubts and difficulties of some in connection with the different phases connected with the new life. Availing himself of this opportunity, Daulat Singh, who was very worried over his unsettled affairs at Bangalore, sought Baba's permission to return home for 2 months. He felt sure that within this period he could set matters right and would then be able to rejoin Baba with a free mind and heart. A day later, in the presence of all the companions, Baba looked at Daulat Singh with compassion and conveyed, "Listen carefully, my friend. I have now decided for you to go back to your old life. I send you back without any fault on your part and on your not having failed me in the least. But as I am sending you of my own free will, your spiritual connection with me remains as before, as if I am what you take me to be. The special orders for you are: number one, till you die, no lustful action, even with your wife. Number two, you will never lie, whatever the consequences. Number three, 1 month in every year, you will wear the kafani that I will give you, and during this month, you will live on begging. If these three orders are obeyed by you 100%, you will be sharing my new life 100%. Daulat Singh, who, in spite of having suffered several reverses in his life, loved Baba intensely and therefore felt very reluctant to return home permanently. He nevertheless dared not disobey Baba. It was most touching sight to see him bidding farewell to the companions at Palakwadi with uncontrollable sobs and tears rolling down his cheeks. Oh, right, yeah. Nanak, perfect master, was the first guru of the Sikhs. Yeah.
There's a reference to 8 here, the order. The order here is referred to 8, but then it looks like it's from they mistakenly put IBID, but the book name is not mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, IBID means same book, but then the first reference itself cannot be IBID. Okay, let's continue.
The way the screen went off, Karthik.
Yeah.
The way
No.
Daulat Singh was drawn to beloved Baba is rather exceptional. It was in a dream that he first beheld beloved Mehr Baba's face, aglow with matchless radiance and an inviting smile. But he neither knew Baba's name nor his whereabouts. Is he the awakener of this age? Is he Nanak come again? He thought of. The face he had seen. Even since this significant dream, his eyes always longed to see the face of that enlightened one in flesh and blood. This was what he genuinely wished, but hardly dared hope for. His vision seemed very significant to him. It was a sign from the sphere of ever shining light, he knew, but not knowing what to do about it, he became very restless. In those days, He was living in Srinagar, the capital of Kashmir. He was practicing there as a doctor and was well placed in life. In the early 1940s, one of Baba's devotees visited Kashmir to spread his name and message. He carried pictures of Meher Baba with him. Once he displayed a few of these in one of the small shops on the main road in Srinagar. By a stroke of luck, Daulat Singh happened to pass by and at once recognized the face as that of one he had seen in his dream and for whom he was desperately searching and pinning. He embraced the devotee with great fervor as tears of joy trickled down his cheeks. That day, he first heard of holy name of his age, Meher Baba. A wonderful lover had thus been drawn to the wonderful beloved in a wondrous way.
There's a footnote, but nothing but explaining Nanak. Nanak is from lived between 1469 and 1538 AD. He's a perfect master, was the first guru of the Sikhs, and he is regarded as the founder of Sikhism.
Yeah.
Let's continue. Yeah. In the rights.
Yeah. In the riots that sprang up in Kashmir after the partition of this great subcontinent in August 1947, Daulat Singh unfortunately lost a big part of his property and he had to move with his family to another part of India. Once he was a wealthy, well-to-do person, and now it was not easy for him to manage the family affairs. Well, he was put in a miserable predicament. This, however, did not lessen his love for Baba even a bit. His circumstances had not changed much when he joined Baba in his new life. It was in consideration of this plight that all knowing Master Baba relieved him from accompanying him any further. Daulat Singh implicitly obeyed Baba's three standing orders. He generally referred to beloved Baba as the Huzur, the Lord. His last meeting prior to his death with his beloved Baba was very moving when the lover and the beloved were in each other's embrace. More about this event as we come to it in the course of narration. The Song of the New Life. Returning to the account of Baba's new life phase at Belgaum, it was the period when Baba resumed his fondness for playing a dholak, a cylindrical drum with leather on both sides, to the accompaniment of a harmonium which Adi played, while also singing ghazals. During one such performance, Baba asked Gani to compose a ghazal comprising the cardinal qualities expected of the companions. He spontaneously dictated the following chorus in Urdu. He means here Baba. सुनो मेहर बाबा की खामोश बानी, खामोश बंद. Actually, it is Bani. Okay. सुनो मेहर बाबा की खामोश बानी or बंद, if it is typed wrongly. इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी, है जीना तुम्हें गर नई जिंदगानी, करो तर्क दिल से ये दुनिया है फानी. Listen to the silent words of Meher Baba. The life story of all lovers of God is based on the practice of these words.
Sanjay, I think
Baba,
there is a song, right? I
yeah,
heard
yeah,
Gopi singing this song. Very nice
yeah,
song. I
correct.
like it.
Yeah, yeah. सुनो मेहर बाबा की, it like goes like that. Yeah.
खामोश बानी,
इसी में है
इसमें है
सब
सब
आशिकों की कहानी,
कहानी,
है जीना तुम्हें कर नई जिंदगानी, करो तर्क दिल से ये दुनिया है फानी. I think we should read it once we are done with the new life. We should read both the Urdu and English translation in
Great.
some
Well sung.
next
Well sung,
next
Sanjay.
session.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, Baba.
Thank you so much for that impromptu singing. Thank you.
Yeah, Baba. Baba then dictated some points to Ghani, who later incorporated them in the ghazal. These were put into verse in 9 quatrains. Baba again suggested a few points and asked him to include them at the end. He jokingly remarked that if Ghani failed to do this job well by next morning, his punishment would be 100 baitaks, a kind of Indian exercise of rigorously sitting and standing. The couplets were set to a musical score. The tune was approved by Baba. This song was usually sung with the accompaniment of an harmonium and drum. Sometimes Baba played on a dholak, Adi on harmonium, and Nilu on tal, a small crembal. Baba instructed that this song be sung in a morning prayer for some days during their stay at Belgaum. This ghazal is known as the Song of the New Life. Then the next to last quatrain is as follows. Even if your heart is cut to bits, let there be a smile on your lips. Here I divulge to you a point worth nothing. Hidden in my penniless hand is a treasure untold. Your beggarly life will be the envy of king.
Who wrote this song? Sanjay?
Gani.
Oh, I see. I see.
It looks like
Chale
the
dil pe
first lines.
churiyan.
The
It goes
first
like
lines
this.
were dictated.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Go
It
ahead.
goes like this. Chale dil pe churiyan, magar lab ho khanda. Uh, it's like that. This last line is like that. I'm away. Otherwise, I've read from my book. Yeah, yeah, Baba. In November 1949, the complete song was published and sent to Baba people, along with its translation in English by Meher Publication, Ahmednagar. Yeah.
Um,
So,
yeah.
can you would like to read? Kiran can take over.
Yes, yes,
Want to
yes,
read?
yes.
Okay, Baba.
Thank you, Sanjay ji.
Jai Baba.
Kiran, you can take over. Jai Baba.
Yeah, Jai Baba. I had to start from Baba at regular settings, right?
Yeah, Baba's New Life, visible yet veiled. Yeah.
1 second, I'm not able to get into the full mode. 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah. Baba had regular sittings with his companions. Once noticing the discomforts of his friends owing to the cold weather, he made provision for a gongdi, recourse woolen blanket, and an extra bed sheet for each member. During one of the meetings at Belgaum, Baba stated, "When I myself make enquiries about anyone's personal difficulties, then only should he tell me his difficulties honestly, frankly, and truly without a tinge of spite or exaggeration." In the new life, to commence on January 1, 1950, I might at times make you do things which I might also do. Sometimes I will make you do things which I may not do. In either case, we shall all be sharing the new life. Extraordinary and abnormal things will be done by me and carried out by you too. What exactly I mean by extraordinary and abnormal things, I cannot tell you now. Such things will go to make the new life and the sufferings therein enjoyable. I assure you, the new life, in spite of its acute sufferings, will be wet inside and outside. The greatest help to me will be to do willingly and unassistingly anything, even to my person, when I give the order.
I think let's check which book is this. Hold on. Maybe there is a book reference before this.
Did you
Okay.
just pass?
Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah. But even there, it was I bid. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It must be Awakener or one of the accounts of the new life. Let's continue from here.
Okay.
During the stay.
During the stay at Talakwadi, Baba once asked one of his companions to slap him. He then asked all to stand in a line and he touched their feet with his hands. Such actions remind me of the instructions given by a Zen master to his disciples, perhaps to initiate them into the impersonal aspect of the divine. In connection with this deeper form of meditation, this Zen master once instructed the aspirants, even if you happen to see the glorious form of the enlightened one, discard it and go ahead. Was this in to merge oneself in the vital void, the everything comprising of nothing? The new life activities of Meher Baba were quite visible and understandable, but their spiritual significance lay veiled and mysterious. External activities of the new life were to be carried out at and near Hardwar. In view of this particular phase of work, a small estate was purchased in a village called Manjri Mafi, a few miles from Dehradun. The property was in the name of two of the companions. This small estate with 2 rooms, a veranda, kitchen, bathroom and a courtyard was situated on the road leading to Hardwar. Baba remarked that in case he moved some other place, the house could be used by the companions. When someone raised a question as to the legal position of the property, when all of them would drop their bodies, Baba, in a light vein of humor, cited the title of a detective novel by Agatha Christie, and then there were none. In relation to the name of the village, Manjari Mafi, which in the
If I can pause you here,
correct,
two
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
If you go back to this analogy, it's a very interesting analogy. The
Right.
Zen master says, even if you happen to see the glorious form of the enlightened one, discard it and go ahead, right? So again, this is again the editorial privilege of Bal Natu that he's using this analogy. But if you notice there, it's I mean, this could be one of the ways of interpreting Baba's work in the new life. Again, we will never comprehend the full nature and full reasoning for it, but this is one of the ways of saying that whatever inconveniences and challenges and requirements Baba put to them, they kept doing it. And this was a way of inspiring one to go from the formless to the form to the formless, right? It could be, right? One of the ways of interpreting it. Second thing that I wanted to comment was on this Manjari Mafi, right? And this Agatha Christie title. So if any one of you has read this book, it's basically it's a group of people that encounter a murder, and the suspicion moves from one to the other right across the group. So all the people in the group are suspects at one time or the other through the course of the book. And then it turns out the author itself is the murderer. Right. So it's a very nice, very compelling and interesting book, if I remember right. But there were two very good ones. I think this is one of them. Anyway, let's continue. I think you were here
And
in
Just
relation
want to
to the.
comment.
regarding this new life also, I have one question. It was like
Sure.
around 2.5 years, right? It was predefined 2.5 years, or it was decided, or after 2.5 years, Baba
No,
said we
no,
will stop
no.
killing.
It was not decided. It was not decided. So, in fact, Baba had not indicated that it was a time-bound thing. Good question. But
Hmm.
Baba had not indicated at the beginning that it was time-bound. And in fact, the lovers were not clear as to what will happen and how long this would be. So it was very confusing to people as well. Because, okay, now what? How long is this going to be? What is going to happen afterwards? Is that all that we can deal and see Baba in form and meet him? What's going to happen? So there was a lot of anxiety. So again, I think this is this phase also where a lot of people might have left him, right? Especially, let's not
Yeah.
call Baba lovers, but people who were introduced to Baba. But I said, hey, what is this? They're not able to comprehend what this is. Why is he not in touch with his own people? Why is he walking away? Why is he selling all his, assets and properties and ashram even that is set up, and he's just gone and he doesn't want to say where he is. So it's all a test of the genuine seeker, right? That's what I see.
Yeah.
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 There's one more reason for this Baba bowing down to the feet of the Mandali and Mandali slapping Baba. It was told in a different situation. I think 1 day or 2 days before coming to Merajad, they stayed in a masjid. I vaguely remember that. And Baba was given a room, and there was a bird cage there. And because it was disturbing, he called Surich and asked him to clear that. And it turned out Baba Baba said, I'm going to be one among you. I'm going to be like a normal human being. And Baba set out some rules that everybody should follow. So if he finds himself that he is not, is it breaking the rule, then he was doing this penance by Mandali hitting him and Baba bowing down to their feet, all that stuff. And probably something
Yes.
like that must have happened here. That's why Baba bowed down to this Mandali.
Yeah, I remember the episode that you're talking about. I
Hmm.
think we read about it as well, but I don't know whether it's in the new
At the
life,
end of the
but
new life, it comes at the end of the
end
new
of the new
life.
life. Okay, okay, okay. Must be. Anyway, let's continue, Kiran.
Yeah.
In relation to,
In,
I think you can repeat from here. Yeah.
yeah. In relation to the name of the village, Mandri Mafi, which in the vernacular means cats are forgiven, Baba joked. Here at Belgaum, we have rats to trouble us. In the village we intended to stay, cats are forgiven. So let us hope that at Mandiri Mafi, we will be free at least from rat trouble. While conversing with the companions, no subject was too important or too trivial for Baba. And the companions felt that every action of Baba's carried with it the spark of his divinity. The training period at Belgaum was to end by the middle of November, and the begging phase at Benares was to be over before the end of December. About Bhiksha begging, Baba explained to the companions, we have to beg for food only and not for anything else. Food includes everything cooked or raw, liquid or solid, anything and everything. We should not, during begging, ask for anything special. Gani should not say, give me mutton, and Neelu should not ask for milk or barfi. You ought only to say, please give bhiksha. How to beg and what to beg, I will instruct you fully at Benares. If people offer clothing, accept it but don't ask for it. You cannot accept money under any circumstances. Animals offered voluntarily must be refused. But while thus refusing, you can say that if a white horse is given, you would accept. Food or clothing, when given, should be brought and placed before me first. This much we decide today.
It's the same book. I'll find the reference and tell you which book is being referred. All these are from the same book. I have to go back a lot more pages. I don't want to do it now. Yeah.
On an earlier occasion, Baba conveyed, from January 1, 1950, you all know we have no money. We either beg or earn for food. One point that is to be remembered by one and all is that no food should be preserved for the morrow on shifting from one place to another. Every day will be a new day for us in this new life. If the picture I have in mind takes shape, the abnormal and extraordinary happenings for you all from April 1950 onwards will be an everyday affair. Although I said we stay at Hardwar for 2 or 3 months, it does not mean we stay there for all the time. Some suggestive and profound indications. In the month of November, the companions found Baba in a communicative mood. So they tried to elicit some details about the nature of the impending new life. This attempt did not prove very successful. Nevertheless, some statements made by Baba during this period were suggestive, a few were rather obscure but profound. One day Baba conveyed, in this new life, you must be prepared to witness and see Baba being humiliated in all sorts of ways by you, outsiders, must saints or yogis. You must therefore help me by not interfering unless I order you to do so. He mentioned that the 4 principles underlying the conditions of the new life were not to touch money, not to touch a woman, to carry out all orders of Baba most willingly, and to remain cheerful under the most trying circumstances. When asked if this type of new life had been undertaken by anyone in the past, and what need had he to lead it, Baba's laconic answer was, this is whatever it is. I cannot say anything more than this. At the later part of the above question, he clearly stated, this much I know, I have got to go on and on with you or alone. By trying to dig out something from me with regard to this new life, you will not gain anything further. On the contrary, you will get more and more puzzled, if not dismayed. I have been waiting these long years for this new life, and if we live through it, it will mean life that has no end. This clearly shows that Baba was reluctant to divulge the secret and subtitles of the new life. A local paper at Belgaum published news of Baba's stay at Talakwadi. This became the talk of the town. In spite of Baba's instructions, some visited the companions hut to know more about Baba and his work. It was difficult for the companions to satisfactorily answer the queries made by the visitors. They were told that Baba did not permit darshan, yet some of them tried to approach Baba. As they came closer, Baba himself bowed down and touched their feet. They were taken aback. They knew that Baba was observing silence, so did not ask any questions. Quietly, they left the place. In anticipation of future incidents, the companions requested that Baba give them a few pointers which would help them to explain to some extent the nature of the new life to such visitors. Baba agreed and dictated the following statements. Hopelessness means renunciation of all hopes. Aimlessness means renunciation of all aims. Helplessness means renunciation of all help. No master, no disciple means renunciation of spirituality. And the new life I have in picture, mind, eventually means absolute renunciation.
This is also from the same book. Anyway, let's continue.
From
From
this,
it,
it seems clear Baba was not very concerned how much these statements clarified the new life. Baba leaves Belgaum for Benares. From November 1, Adi, in the company of companions, started singing daily the new life song in the morning. This indirectly meant coaching some of the Eswalas to sing in a chorus, though very few of them had melodious voices. Baba continued to spend much of his time in the head. Once he dictated a few extemporaneous couplets in Urdu about the life ahead of them. The gist of the lines is given below. The new life will bring about a state wherein no one will depend on anyone for anything. This could be the end if there would be any, Baba later added. The life led in adherence to the oath taken on August 31 will keep us together. There will also be a phase which can be termed as enjoyment of suffering, wherein deep disappointment, a stone in the heart, and a great delight, a wine glass at the lips, will go together. And I hope that Gani will stay on with me as my companion. Saga. On another occasion, the couplets Baba composed, when freely translated, conveyed, whether morning or evening, day or night, makes no difference for us. They are of equal importance and significance. We are not concerned with what others think about us. We are preoccupied with the agony, perhaps intense longing for a life of perfect renunciation. In the last couplet, Baba's sense of humor, which was always present, exerted itself and with reference to the beggarly life. It is Gani by saying that the only cash they had was the proper poverty in Gani's pocket. Baba, as a teenager, used to compose poems in Gujarati, Hindi, Urdu, and Persian under the nom de plume of Hama. These early poems were mostly on spiritual subjects. Even after God realization, his love for composing poems continued. In later years, they chiefly expressed a sense of humor, sometimes mixing words from different languages. In the second week of November, Baba inquired of his friends, companions, about their day-to-day requirements, if any. He asked Uruch to note down all such items, that is soap, threads, buttons, etc. The next day, he was sent to this city to purchase the necessary articles. Marketing was usually entrusted to Vishnu, but he had been sent to Pune on a special job. When Vishnu returned to Belgaum, he was asked if he had brought any special news. Vishnu, in accordance with Baba's injunctions, could neither meet his old acquaintances nor read the newspapers. He, however, related that while moving through the city, the newspaper boys were shouting the headlines. One of the bites of news he heard was that the persons connected with plotting Gandhiji's assassination were to be executed on November 15. It was also brought to notice that that was the date of their projected arrival in Benares. One of the companions mentioned that there was a group of people in Uttar Pradesh who are against the pro-Pakistan and pro-Mohammedan policy of Gandhiji. This state of affairs eventually brought about the tragic end of Gandhiji's life on January 30, 1948. In view of this political situation, it was anticipated that there might be an upsurge of communal unrest in the city of Benares, and it may result in the enforcement of Section 144 of the Indian Penal Code by the district magistrate. Naturally, this would ban any group activity as well as visitors from entering the city. One of the companions added that ignorance of the law would not be accepted as an excuse. So he suggested that the reading of newspapers by the companions would be helpful to them in keeping abreast of such situations. He asked Baba to reconsider the prohibition on reading newspapers. He was indirectly voicing the wish of a few others who for years had been interested in reading the day-to-day news.
If I can pause you here, Mayor Kiran. So
Yeah.
you understand what's happening, right? So basically, one of the mandali is saying, hey, we cannot not know what's going on with the world.
Right.
So I know, Baba, you have put a rule, but we should reconsider this newspaper rule, right? Let's say we are the mandali. What would our votes be? So let's say this is put to vote, right? So Baba says, okay, how many people want to read the newspaper? How many people don't want to read the newspaper? What would the vote be in this group? I would vote
Majority
for
to
no.
read.
Okay,
Okay.
I would say no. I would say no. If I'm going with Baba, I would say no. Baba will
I will
figure it
also
out.
say no. Yeah, I will also
Okay.
say no.
Yeah, because Baba
Um,
will figure it out, right? So if this news thing is more a connection with the material world, and it's like our obsession with trying to catch up with all of us are subject to that even today, right? Though we may be aware and be on the path in various degrees of commitment and mind space, we are connected to the world and we constantly spend time in keeping up with what's going on. But to someone in the new life, to someone who's closely linked and working so closely with Baba, I think it shouldn't matter at all. I mean, if the legal point that's being made out is a dictum in law which says that you cannot say when you're accused of breaking the law that you didn't know about that law existing, which is a very old dictum. But that can't be applied to somebody like a group of fakirs, which is what this group was going to be. Just a thought. I'm just trying to indulge you to think about how these things would have been in real life as the Mandali went through this process on a day-to-day basis, right? Yeah. Any
Right.
other comments?
Yeah.
I think
Maybe
it was the same
You
time
know,
my
when
comment was
Yeah, Ashish,
go
yeah,
ahead.
go
Yeah.
ahead. And then, yeah,
yeah, I think it was the same time when that our independence, Gandhiji, those things was on
correct.
the peak, right? We got the
Peak,
independence.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, that's why the people might be very eager to know what's happening
What is
around. But
going on? Yes,
yeah,
yes.
what's going on? But when we are with
What's
the
up?
avatar,
Right.
what's the need? But that
What is
time
the
was
need?
very peak time.
That's a good point. That's
Right.
very
So
good, right? So
so,
it's
so
like,
the question
yeah, go
was
ahead.
sorry. Yeah, the reason why I said yes, because we now as Baba lovers know Avatar is there. So in that point of time, we should not. But for the Mandalis who are there, or I do not know how much, because it's a sudden change, right? Again, Baba is instructing, we should not ask me, this is how to live. So probably that's what I meant. As part of the Mandali members living with Baba for, I think, probably I don't know. Yeah, so that's what I meant. Now knowing Baba and he's an avatar, he reads our minds and everything, and yeah, we of course we rightfully, we feel that we should live to Avatar, but my perspective was at that time as Mandali members, and yeah, as Ashish pointed out, a lot of things are happening. Probably that's my point of view.
yeah, I think I agree with
Hey,
Meher Karan. Uh, See, now Baba actually prepared us, all of us. So when we read Baba's literature over the time, how long have you been reading all these books? Like more than 4 or 5 years, right? 4 years is 2000. We are aware of Baba's orders and how important we have to give to his orders and follow. It is very spiritually very, very important for us. But at that time, as Meher Karen was saying, they didn't have that much of knowledge at that time. So they were more curious to know what's going around in the world. Especially when Mahatma Gandhi died, it is a big news, right? For them, they all were revered Gandhi like anything, Indian people. So it's a big news. That's why probably they showed some concern about it. The second point I would like to bring is, irrespective of Baba's order or not, what are we going to know, learn, or to know the news? What happens if we don't know, or what happens if we know? In my opinion, nothing. About 10, 12 years ago, I had to come to India and I had to undergo a major operation. And for a month, I was put to dark about any news. I didn't get any American news because I've been living here. So I want to know American news, just like how people in India want to know what's going on in India. But what happened? Nothing happened. Things were going on, whatever they were, and whether I know it or not, things would go on their own. So it's not very important to know the news or not know the news. Jewel.
very, very good, interesting comments. And Ashish, your point and yeah, Ravi's support of the same is also important. So it's a sensitive time where news was important to them, right? And it's like probably COVID, right? During COVID, all of us were a lot more keen about news than probably today, right? That also we have to respect the generation that this is being talked about in. Our parents' generation had a lot of importance given to news, right? So that it was a tradition almost at homes to switch on the radio at news time because that was the only connection to the world other than the newspaper, right? So yeah, I think it's all good context, but yeah, we can continue. He was indirectly. We'll just repeat this line.
He was indirectly voicing the wish of few others who for years had been interested in reading the day-to-day news. A few of them, for certain periods, had regularly read the newspapers to Baba. His order totally, he asked Donkin alone to read the Times of India every day. He was instructed to mark all the news relating to the promulgation of new laws, riots, curfews, floods, etc. These cuttings, Baba added, could be read by those who so wished. He also told Donkin to forget the other news and to destroy the remaining pages. Baba did not consent to changing party's entry in Banaras. By the way, it may be stated that the persons involved in the Gandhi case filed an appeal against the judgment, and nothing untoward happened on November 15 in the cities of Uttar Pradesh. On November 12, in the early hours of the morning at 4:30 a.m., Baba and his companions left Belgaum as quietly as they had arrived. The first phase of physical labor at this center consisted of cleaning and washing, sweeping and dusting, cooking and fetching water from the well. Perhaps all this was more related to the dusting and cleansing of minds and hearts of their old habits and temperaments, or it was a warming up exercise of the new life. For Baba's companion, the end of the stay. The end of the stay at Belgaum marked the beginning of a life which they could not anticipate.
Kiran, there was a lot of disturbance. I don't know.
One second, sorry. Maybe one second.
Yeah, this background noise. Anyway, I can take over as well. My notes.
Yeah, you carry on, Karthik. Yeah, thank you, Jai Baba.
I'll Jai Baba. I'll carry on. No problem. I'll carry on. Thank you, Kiran. So I'll continue from this point. This was the beginning of a life untouched by hope, envy, fear, or passion for possessions, as was sung in the song of the new life. It's the same song that was referred earlier. There's another quatrain. We neither wail over lost hopes nor complain about broken promises. We neither covet on honor nor shun disgrace. Backbiting, we know not, nor do we fear anyone. No, backbiting, we know not, nor do we fear anyone. This is now the color phase of our new life. So Benares to Moradabad is the next chapter. Let's continue. 1949, part 5. That's the chapter. The first subsection is the telegram episode. Meher Baba with his companions reached Benares via Pune, Bombay, and Mughal Sarai on the morning of November 15th. They were on their way to Haridwar, the place where the external activities of the new life were to take shape. They had left Belgaum by train on November 12th and were at Pune the next day. Here, the party had to change trains for Bombay. On the same day, after contacting Mauni at Haridwar in October, the duty assigned to me by Baba, I happened to visit Pune on some work. After getting out of the railway station, I chanced to see Dr. Donkin, one of Baba's companions. In view of Baba's instructions, I did not approach him. Not knowing Baba's program, I did not dream, even remotely, that Baba was having a stroll at the end of the platform where I had gotten down. Strange coincidence of personal significance. Later the same day, I learned from Gadekar that he saw Baba and Neelu, Dr. Neelkant, at the station. Because of the instructions in the circular, he dared neither to contact any of the companions nor to linger there. What a fantastic coincidence, right? That two of the Novalas are in the same place as a busy platform, and they get physical darshan of not just Baba, but also of the other members of the Mandali. These guys were really, really special people and had a very, very special contact with Avatar. It's amazing. Personally, I had no idea that Baba had been at Belgaum for 3 weeks and was on his way to Banaras. I had seen him last on October 9 when he freed me from physically joining the new life. He permitted me to resume, if possible, my work at school. Returning home, I found that the headmaster did not seem to favor rehiring me. As there were only a few days of school left before the long Diwali vacation, I resolved to meet my dear friend Mauni, the mendicant, in October and convey to him Baba's message. I regarded this work as a sacred spiritual obligation which I must not delay. If you recollect, the exact instruction was to convey some message to Mauni, and in a weak moment, Bal Natu actually says, "But how do I find him? He's gone. He's in Haridwar. I don't even know how to get him." And Baba gets very upset. He says, "That's your problem. I am telling you to go find him and give this message." And the resistance or follow-up question was not liked by Baba. That's what I remember in the earlier reading. So let's see what happens now. As a child, I had stayed in North India with my father, but during the last decade, I had not even journeyed once through this part. Haridwar was over 1,000 kilometers from Kurduwadi. I had no acquaintance in those parts except Kishan Singh, who was staying in Delhi. I did not know his address, so I sent a telegram to Adi. On October 16th, leaving Kurduwadi for Haridwar, send Kishan Singh's Delhi address. To this, I received a prompt reply, but it was a bit puzzling. It read, whether Haridwar or Marwar, never, never try to see Baba. Stop this telegram stop. Kishan Singh's address, 55 Pandara Road, New Delhi. Wow. So even in that message, Baba is conveyed, don't look for Baba. I wondered about the first part of this communication. I thought, why should Adi reply so humorously? This problem was resolved on my return journey from Haridwar when I stayed for 2 days at Ahmednagar. There, I met Dattu, a clerk in Adi's office. He knew about this telegraphic communication. I asked him about the unconnected contents. He related that my personal telegram to Adi was handed over to him in Baba's presence. In the course of attending to other matters, Adi read my telegram to Baba. I had not mentioned therein that I was going to Haridwar to contact Mauni. Baba knew that very well, but sometimes he could seemingly be most ignorant. He conveyed to Adi, I freed Bal from accompanying me physically in my new life. I had asked him to continue his service. Instead, he is starting on October 16th on his own for Haridwar. Does he intend to join the new life against my order? So the first sentence of the telegram was dictated. So that's why the first sentence of the telegram was dictated. Whether Haridwar or Marwar, never, never try to see Baba. When I heard this from Dattu, I felt very sorry I had not sent a clear-cut telegram to Adi. In fact, I had not the least intention of disobeying Baba. I did not know that the headquarters of Baba's New Life activities was to be near Haridwar. October 16th was chosen by me as the auspicious date because Baba was entering the new life on that day. I wondered how, unintentionally, the situation had gotten distorted. I displeased Baba. What a pity that I have been the cause of disturbing Baba's mood, maybe for a minute. I thought this had been, I thought, This had been this had such a serious effect on me that for many days I felt rather uneasy, especially when alone. I would often implore Baba to forgive me, and after some days, Baba appeared in a dream and consoled me. With a benevolent smile, he bade me forget the whole affair of the telegram and not to worry over it at all. With this dream, the psychological tension entirely vanished. Thus, the telegram episode had a happy ending. Now, in search of Mauni. Before narrating further the activities of Baba's new life, I intend to give an account of what I did about the order that he personally gave me on October 9, 1949. As soon as I received Adi's aforementioned wire, I made the necessary preparations for that long journey to the foot of the Himalayas. I took sufficient money and clothing for a stay of over a month or more in those places of pilgrimage, Haridwar and Rishikesh. I had decided to search every ashram there to find my bearded friend Mauni and to deliver Baba's message to him. Only after discharging this duty did I wish to resume my teaching, not before. So, on October 16th, by the early morning train, I left Kurduvadi for Bombay and reached New Delhi the next day by evening. On that very long railway platform, I did not see Kishan Singh, to whom I had sent a telegram about my arrival by the Punjab mail. I dared not take out my luggage and was planning to proceed to the main station, Delhi. Just as the train whistled, I saw the tall figure of Kishan Singh coming with long strides towards my compartment. Baba be praised, I muttered and jumped out of the carriage, pulling my bag and bedding behind me. Kishan Singh had received the telegram, but the sender's name was changed from Bal Natu to Bal Nat. He did not know who was arriving by the train, but thought it best to come to the station. For a day, I stayed at Delhi. I asked Kishan Singh to keep the extra money that I had with me. It was a provision in case I lost my purse or baggage during my stay at Haridwar. Come what may, I had determined to find Mauni and deliver Baba's message. The train for Haridwar was overcrowded. It was night, and I managed to huddle on a bench but could rarely sleep. By early morning, the train reached Haridwar. It was bitter cold, which I was not used to at all. A sannyasi was sitting beside me. I asked him about the lodging facilities. By chance, he happened to be in charge of a dharamshala, a pre-rest house near the station. He led me to a big room where I found some pilgrims already resting. I doubted whether my belongings would be safe there, but trusting the honesty of my co-travelers, I planned to move freely through the town till lunchtime. During my round, I noticed that some roads were thronged with persons wearing ochre clothes. In those days, Haridwar seemed to be seemed to me a town of sadhus. Moreover, I learned that ashrams, small and big, stretched about the town, particularly by the banks of the Ganges. In this sadhu crowded area, I wondered how I would find the place where Mauni stayed. I recalled the instructions given to him by Baba. Beg for food, don't cook food, stay at one place. So I guessed that he must be staying near a center where free food was served. I inquired about such places and was told that in Rishikesh there were some big centers of this type. I also heard from Mauni that during his last visit he stayed for some time at Rishikesh. It struck me that instead of Haridwar, I should search for him in Rishikesh. Baba orders and Baba guides. My sannyasi friend gave me an address and a personal note to one of his friends who had a spacious hut at Rishikesh. It was in a secluded section of the bank of the Ganges. Luckily, the person, Parameshwaranand, was there when I reached the cottage. I handed the note from his friend to him and introduced myself. Unlike the crowd in the room at Haridwar, there was only one person here, the owner. Thought crept in. Am I safe here? Is he really a good man? The mind is very tricky. It doubts both ways. It was about 3 p.m. and I left the place to visit Gita Bhavan, Swargashram, Lakshman Jhula, and other places. But my main concern was to inquire about the chief centers where food was served to spiritual aspirants without charge. I learned that the two main places were Kali Kamli Wale or Punjabi Kshetra Center. The next day was Diwali, the festival of lights. At sunrise, facing the holy Ganges, I offered my prayers, repeated some cantos from the Bhagavad Gita, and prayed to God with all sincerity to guide me in discharging the duty entrusted to me by Baba. It was indeed a marvelous morning. The whole atmosphere seemed to be charged with a divine presence which filled my heart with confidence. I felt that I would return to my town only after completing the work assigned to me by my beloved Baba. That would be a real Diwali, I thought. There's a little bit of overlap from a time perspective. Diwali is over for the Mandli group in the last chapter, and Baba. Now, he's gone back a few days to give the story of his Haridwar and Rishikesh trip. I had to walk a mile or more to reach Kali Kamli Wale Kshetra. Plan was to visit one such place each day, right from its opening till it closes. By 8:30 a.m., I was there. After about an hour, sadhus and sannyasis began to form a queue. Everyone had a cotton bag like a satchel and a plate or a mug. Few of them seemed absorbed in meditation even when standing in a row. The whole scene was reminiscent of the ancient Indian culture. And good heavens, there was Mauni standing at the far end of the line. I could not believe my eyes. His presence made me immensely happy. He too was much astonished and delighted to find me there. God had surprisingly and speedily answered my morning prayers. Mauni told me that he was staying in a room in the Brahmanand ashram. He was on the way to the hut where I stayed. Upon reaching the ashram, I told him Baba's message. He was asked to observe with heart and soul all the instructions given by Baba. The only change was that he was not to see Meher Baba after the stipulated period mentioned as Mehrabad during his last interview with Baba. Mauni willingly agreed, felt greatly relieved. Then I told him what little I knew about Baba's new life phase. I had anticipated spending a long time in that area looking for Mauni. Everything went so well, it was as if it was pre-arranged. The only thing was that I did not know the arrangements in advance. Baba's orders imply perfect guidance, I learned. Baba gives orders, but he also gives one that guidance which allows the orders to be fulfilled. Mauni experienced the preciseness of this vital spiritual principle all the more during the concluding part of his sadhana. He later related to me an account of the last 7 days of the period stipulated by Baba, when he had to observe a fast on water. He found that in the Brahmananda ashram, the place where he stayed, it would be difficult for him to draw water from the deep well. Hence, as Baba had given him the option, he wished to shift to a room near the bank of the Ganges. He inquired if he could be lodged in a secluded hut for a week. But that was the period of the Kumbh Mela at Haridwar, which is regarded as the biggest religious fair in India. This time, over 500,000 pilgrims were expected. Hundreds of sadhus, Nangas, I think it's Nagas also, Bairagis, and sannyasis of various different sects had reserved certain areas for their followers. So accommodation in a special hut meant for a single person was not possible. But miraculously enough, Mauni got a very small hut just for himself, and there was also a tin pitcher to store water, the one thing he needed most. On the last day of his fast, Mauni felt very weak and feverish. He had no strength to go to the river and fetch water, even in that tiny pitcher. He lay alone in the hut, remembering Baba. Sometimes he felt extremely exhausted and depressed too. Just after midnight, when the period of 7 days was over, Mauni, to his great wonder and delight, saw beloved Baba's exquisitely fascinating face compassionately looking at him from an undefinable distance. The vision was so comforting that he felt indescribable vibrations of bliss and peace within him. All his agonies vanished, and a new life was infused in him. The experience corroborated the fact that Baba had been with him all the time during the sadhana. Suddenly, with great speed, the face commenced drawing closer and closer till Mauni felt that its radiance touched and filled his heart. It was indeed Baba's glowing gesture to bless him. By this time, he had also learned about Baba's stay somewhere near Hardwar. But in obedience to his orders, he never tried to approach him, perhaps to get over the temptation of seeing Baba, and also for reasons of health. He soon left Rishikesh for Banaras. So probably we will stop here. But it was a very, very interesting read. Any comments before we wrap up?
New life is always very interesting.
Yeah. In fact, I know very little.
The
Uh,
narration of Bal Natu makes it
yes.
even more so.
Very, yeah, with a lot of
Flows,
love. Yeah.
just flows like,
Yeah.
beautiful. His own experience of visiting Dehradun in 1953 on the day of Holi, I think that would come in the next book. Also equally
Okay.
amazing.
Mm,
Jai Baba.
very interesting. Jai Baba. So
Yeah.
everybody have a great Saturday, and let's catch up as planned for super interesting phase of God Speaks tomorrow. So those of you in Bangalore, I think it's Meher Kiran alone. Yeah, I'm also coming to the center tomorrow for the celebration that they have. So if you are coming, Meher Kiran, I look forward to seeing you there.
What
And
celebration? Baba birthday celebration?
yeah, in advance, yes. It's the birthday celebration, but in advance at the center. So they have this big event, and I don't go to the centers that frequently, but I was there actually last week. I had a nice little moment with Baba. I was there very close to the center in Jayanagar, and it was a deep day. I just walked in and had a nice darshan and moment with Baba last week. So and there I was reminded about this birthday celebration, and I thought, yeah, I should make it.
Okay. Jai Baba, Karthik, we'll meet.
Look forward, yeah. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Yeah,
And,
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Everybody.
and Ravi, I met
Yeah.
your childhood, and Ravi, I met your childhood friend Janki, Meher Baba friend.
Oh, yeah. In Mehrabad?
No, I think she was traveling from Hyderabad to Mysore. She was going to Coorg on her, I think, school. Yeah.
Reunion, school reunion.
Yeah, correct. That's correct. Yeah. So I met her. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, she was telling us when we were in Mehrabad, we met, and she was telling that she was going to go. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was not knowing, I mean, anyone there, but I just saw someone with Baba's badge. And so that's how I just came to know her. And she also referred Ashok also she met. And I was talking about this group. I mean, it just coincidentally, I mean, we were just talking about this group. Then she referred you and she said you are his
Wow.
friend. And yeah, she also met Ashok, she told, yeah.
Ashok, yes. Karthik, you also met her, right?
I'm not sure.
Kama met.
Janaki, right? Okay, I'm
No?
not sure. I'm not sure.
Janaki.
The name doesn't ring a bell. Maybe I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Very nice.
Ka-
Very nice.
Kama.
Very nice.
Why Kama kept quiet today?
He's not doing
Because
his role.
no, you asked a question, right? If Baba says don't listen to the news, what would you do? He wants
Yeah.
to say yes. That's why he kept quiet. Right, Kama?
Yes, Baba. Yes, Baba.
Yes, Baba? You
Yes,
say
Baba.
yes or no? Oh,
Actually, I am also quite addicted to listening to news. But as we were reading today, it is coming to my mind. I think it makes you get involved in the affairs of the world.
Yes.
We call it that we should be aware of what is going around, but actually it makes you unaware of the realities, real things, So I also need to work on me to,
I stopped watching
de-addict
news.
myself from the news. Yeah.
Yeah,
I stopped watching news.
Yeah.
You know why?
And
We have a
yeah.
great president here who is going to be turning all the world around. So I do not want to watch it.
It frightens you, right? Okay.
Anyway,
I,
on
I
that
mean,
note,
I am
I
currently
stopped
reading a
recording. We can, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah. Go
currently
ahead,
reading a
Sanjay ji.
book